Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Letty and in today's video I will show you the process of scaling up the Veiiko Backpack into a more travel-sized carry-on backpack. If that sounds interesting to you, then stick around for the process video, and in the end I will tell you a little bit more about all the materials that I use and my overall opinion of my project, and if I achieved all the things that I wanted to achieve with that backpack. And also a little addition that I sewed to the backpack that goes into the backpack. So yeah, enjoy the process. The first piece I extended was the front lining. I thought the easiest is to extend the piece by 6 centimeters in each direction from the center lines. So horizontally I added 6 centimeters as well as vertically. Here you see me drawing two parallel lines, each 6 centimeters apart, and then trace the curves and darts from the original pattern piece to my new one. With my front lining piece, I drafted the pieces for the outer backpack, based on the rule of thirds. For the vertical seam, I have one panel in 1/3 of the width of the backpack and the other one is 2/3. Same goes with the triangular shaped top. This one has a height of 1/3 of the backpack. After drafting the pieces on the lining, I used some new paper, traced them, put the seam allowance on the seams and cut them out. I was quite nervous cutting and sewing the X-Pack material since I never worked with that fabric before. It is a very robust but not too heavy material. You have to remember, once you put a hole in, it will stay. So ripping seams is possible, but I wanted to prevent it as much as possible, otherwise I would have to use the seam sealant more. The material is not very slippery, but definitely has a tendency to move if you're not careful with handling it under the sewing machine. First I used the clips to secure the pieces, but for some seams I used both 1/2 centimeter of double-sided tape and then the clips on top. The double-sided tape was definitely a lifesaver for the whole project. After sewing and then pressing or rolling the seams in place, I top-stitched my seams. The triangular top part is a nice detail, but it was super fiddly to get the pieces in place for sewing, and also getting the turning point correct. Usually I would turn the pieces as I sew, but here I had to get it out of the machine and adjust the fit and start sewing again. Once all the seams were finished with top stitching, I used my seam sealant on the inside and glued all the seams shut. The tubes came with a little brush, which was okayish in the beginning, but later I just applied the sealant directly from the tube with a better result. The inside lining of the front panel is sewn the same way the pattern instructs you to do. Instead of turning the piece, I basted everything in place on the back side and finished my edges later with bias binding. For the front zipper, I attached the band to the zipper only on one side first, and then I started sewing before I came to the point where I attached the other end of the zipper to the other end of the band. By doing so, I gave myself the room to make fitting the zipper to the band in a better way. And if I would have noticed that my band had just a little bit more fabric, the pucker would be then on the bottom part and not too visibly like in my first backpack.
As you can see in the back, this is the already scaled up lining part for the back of the backpack, which goes into the backpack and the notebook compartment. And here are the bags that are basically these panels. So I'm debating on how to scale them up properly that it doesn't look weird or anything. And my thought is, so this is the back piece that is in the middle. I will give that an extra of 1 centimeters. That will leave me with 5 centimeters in total to add up. So I'm thinking either 2 centimeters here and 0.5 centimeters here, or maybe 1 here and 1.5 here. But yeah, I rather have more width in the back that is basically touching my back, or at least that is the hopes. That will be anyways padded with my mesh. And yeah, then I have the whole thing of the height. To increase the height, I'm considering, so one thing as well, this piece will be shorter because I want to, let me show it here, I want to have this lower part completely made out of mesh, and I think I will use this height for a reference point, maybe even just a little bit higher for the complete mesh or the width of the backpack, so that I have to keep in mind to add this here, this panel. But yeah, in terms of the height, I think I might add 2 centimeters here. This is the upper part where here will basically be the straps attached. And then 4 centimeters here. And especially in the back, I will, I guess, have 2 centimeters bigger height here in the lower part, which I just told you, with the mesh panel, and then 2 centimeters in there, and the upper part. So yeah, this is the task for now. Lots of fiddling around. I think I measured it correctly that all of these pieces basically have the width of this element, and same goes with the height. This might be just that little bit wider, so I will use the original patterns to widen everything, but I will definitely make sure that I keep a reference on all my pieces with my already increased lining piece, so that I don't accidentally scale it up too much or too little. Oops. So yeah, that will be the task for now.
Here are all my scaled pieces ready to be prepared for sewing. For the 3D mesh pieces, I used my white lining material as a lightweight waterproofed fabric. This material is silk-coated ripstop, and if you thought that silk fabric is a nightmare to sew with, let me assure you, this one is even worse. When I used my double-sided tape on it, the tape came definitely to its limits. It would not really stick to the material, but somehow I convinced it to stick just that little bit, so that I would be able to baste the 3D mesh and the ripstop together. For sewing all the pieces of the back panel, I followed the instruction of the Veiiko Backpack. Even though I modified the bag a lot, it was still somewhat a similar process. I started by sewing and top stitching all the parts that would eventually form the middle area. Before attaching the side pieces, I insert the 3mm Eva sewed into the mesh pieces as a first layer of padding. Then I sewed it shut with the side panel. Next step was basting the lower part of the mesh and ripstop together and then sewing it to the middle area. For the shoulder straps, I used the original pattern pieces of the Veiiko Backpack and followed the instructions. I found them to be the perfect width and had no need to adjust anything. Only when applying them to the back panel I choose a wider spacing that I found more comfortable based on another store-bought backpack. The Veiiko Backpack calls for 2 cm from the middle point, which makes the straps be spaced out by 5 cm. This was way too narrow for my shoulders and the neck, and my other backpack has a width of around 12 cm with the straps. I modified this positioning according to the 12 cm of the other backpack. With the modification done, it was just attaching the top part, top stitching the seams and then gluing the seams. It was a lot of gluing. On this point I noticed that I should have bought a bigger tube for sealing all my seams, and I ordered another one. What you can see here is the first piece for the back panel lining, which will have the pocket for the notebook. It is super puffy actually, but yeah, I did not want to sew anything down. It will stay as puffy as it is. It is similar to the original one. Let me show you this in the other backpack. I have also the performance fabric here for the sides, that it can lay flat and grow a little bit better due to the stretch. So it's similar dimensions to this. And what I did differently here, you might see it, I attached a little bit of leftover backing also to this lower part, since I thought that in this area where the notebook sometimes sits, it presses hard against your back. I think most of the time it is my curvature of the spine that hits it. I hope that this might help with it. I mean, I will also line the new backpack differently to this one. But yeah, just one more thing to do that hopefully give it a better cushioning effect. And so what I did differently this time, I did not want to have the whole width of my lining piece to be the back panel, the notebook sleeve basically. So I drafted on the go how this might look like, and this will be now my back panel for the lining. It is actually my outer fabric, but since I have a notebook, so yeah, since this will have a notebook and I will attach it here and then sew the other panels that are missing. So here's a side panel missing, the other side panel here is missing, and then I will attach a bottom panel. So I bring basically everything a little bit higher, hopefully more towards the back where it's not the curvature of the spine that hits this thingy. But yeah, so this is my idea to maybe give it a better fit for a bigger backpack if I travel with a notebook. For every panel of the backpack that needed the seam sealant, I waited at least 12 hours until I sewed with the panel again. The overall drying time is up to 24 hours. Once it was dry, I sewed the back lining to the outer fabric. First I attached the webbing that would connect to the leather lock on the shoulder straps. and then basted the back lining to the outer fabric but left the bottom open. For better stabilization and more comfort, I added a full panel of Evazode to the back. Just to be sure, I checked the dimensions for the Evazode once more before cutting into it. Getting it between the two layers was easier than in the straps. Afterwards, I basted the bottom layers close. So I tried to make a pocket for the side panel. The pocket is just a little bit wider. You can see it here. It has a little pleat down the bottom. It's around 2 to 2.5 or maybe 3 centimeters wider than the whole side panel. And you can see here there's another pleat inside the area. If I hold it up, it is a little bit, I can't really see it. It will be just a little bit, have an edge basically. So that I have enough space for my water bottle. I did this a little bit further up since the lower part will likely be on the edge of the side curve, so that you have the side curve, a little bit of space, and then your pocket, not your pocket, but your water bottle will sit there. So I drafted that by hand, tried a few different things about how to get to a pocket that will not bulge out a lot. So if I put my water bottle in, it goes around the area where the side pleat is here, and then it can stretch down here for the, not stretch down, but basically lay. It will also not lay flat, but have this area that is more towards the side under the bottle. But I think I will start to cut this out in my main fabric. I will also insert a little band of elastic here just to give it, some, not security, but hold it tighter to the side panel when I don't have the bottle in. But I hope that this might work then on the backpack. So I will try it with the main fabric. I'm not sure, since it is so much stiffer than my cotton fabric. I will see how this will come together with the stiff fabric, but I hope it will work. Let's see. I will cut out first one, and then if it's not working, I can fiddle around again and then cut another piece. The side panels kept me nervous for quite some time. I didn't want to make any mistakes with the length of the panel and respectively with the ring it will eventually form. After drafting the side pockets, I started with putting them together first, since there are many steps involved. First, I needed to sew an elastic band into the edge casing, just to have that little bit of a pull and the pocket will not be super open when nothing is inside. The second step was basting the side pleat, before then basting the edges to the respective side panels and form the second pleat on the bottom. Everything times 2, since I have 2 pockets. Moving to the top of the side panel next, since this one has a handle attached. My other backpack has only a handle from one piece of webbing. It is functional but not very comfortable. From my leftover Eva sewed pieces, I put one piece in between two strands of webbing and sewed it together, which gives a much better handle. For more security, I sewed the ends of the webbing to the side panel up to 4 cm. For the rest of the construction that I didn't film, I used basically the instructions from the Veiiko Backpack, since I have the same side panel ring, even though I will attach it to different areas later. I finished cutting all the materials and panels for my divider panel. You can see here it's 2 panels because I want to have access to the pockets from both sides, so from the big main compartment and also from the front zipper. So this panel will have a lower pocket with this see-through-ish material, and then the upper pocket will be this net material. It's non-elastic, quite like that for little pockets here and there in backpacks, so I opted for this here. And all the zipper tabs, and there's the zipper tabs because of course I have to sew in 4 zippers just for the main compartment. And then the compartment will basically have also a long zipper along this edge. So if the zipper is closed, you basically have a compartment divider between the front and the back. And if you don't want it, you can zip it open, fold it down, and then you have the full access for just one compartment. I like the separations because when traveling, or at least I don't want to have everything in the main compartment and you don't find things like, let's say, your toothbrush or a small little travel towel that you maybe need if you're traveling for quite a while. So I like to keep those things here in the front that is easily accessible, as well as like passports and whatever things. Here we have our backpack puzzle in 4 pieces. I think I'm 3 seams away from finishing the project. So we have in the upper part the side panel. This will attach to the back panel and it will basically form the main compartment with the zipper attached basically to the back, like I did it in my last backpack video. And then we have the front panel and this divider panel. So this divider panel will basically go into the front panel like so. But this will be sewn to this panel first, then I have to open everything and then I can attach this side panel to the back panel and then putting these together. So all the seams, you may see it here a little bit. All my seams I basically finish with the bias binding, since it is the easiest and not fuzz around with turning anything the other way around, because I also have to make sure that all of the seams get sealed with the seam sealant. So this is the other thing I have to do. So around 3 seams plus the bias tape, and then a lot of gluing the seams shut so that in case of any rain situations I don't have problems with the rain. One thing I did to prevent any rain to go into these zipper, you have a little, it is like a hole here. So if rain is coming, you might see it if I, maybe not really. Oh yeah, here you can see the blue of the mat in the background. So if I even shut them down, you always have this little hole. So what I did, I put on a little tab that I basically can hide my zipper underneath. I have it for both of the zippers of this AquaGuard zippers. If I lay them flat, it hopefully will prevent the rain from coming into this tiny hole. I was not sure if it will actually cause an issue, but I think if it's heavy rain, it will be an issue, even if you would move your zipper handles to the side. I think there is the possibility of rain dripping into this little hole, and I thought I might prevent it with this little tab, and if the rain is pouring down heavily, I hope that it will basically slide towards the edge and drips basically down, but doesn't go into the hole. I always then have to make sure that my zipper handles are under this cover, but I thought it is a more convenient way of having just that little bit extra security if it is a super heavy rain, stormy situation outside, and nothing gets wet. So yeah, that is basically the next steps, and let's get to it. Bringing the backpack puzzle together started with basting the divider panel to the front panel. Everything went fine until it didn't. For some reason my panel was not as long as my outer piece, and I didn't know where I did the mistake, and also ripping it apart was not really the option. I thought for a moment what would be a goodish solution and how I can rescue the divider. This panel was after all a non-negotiable for me. My idea in the end was to use bias binding on the lower edge that was too short and still open. With that I would be at least able to use all the pockets and the divider and its functionality. The opening that I would have in the bottom to the main compartment is annoying, but I thought, hey, if I put the packing cube or a pair of shoes in that area, nothing should get to the main compartment. At least that is my theory, and I have to, test it. The next two pieces that went together were the back and side panel, and in comparison to the basting disaster from the front, it went together quite smoothly. But sewing corners with a zipper is definitely a huge challenge, at least for me, and all my attention goes into sewing this area. The last step of sewing the front and back panel together will always be the one that scares me the most. I checked several times that everything aligns correctly and that it will form a proper backpack without any skewness like the one that I did the last time. Handling the big piece under my sewing machine was definitely tricky. It's not easy to position yourself, hold the backpack, and I even sometimes use the board game to just lean the backpack against it. I should work on my technique on handling such a big piece, but for now everything is sewn and I don't plan to sew another rectangular backpack in the near future. At least, I hope. Yeah, famous last words. Before I applied the bias binding to all my raw edges on the inside, I glued all the seams with plenty of seam sealant and let it dry completely. Since the bias binding was closer to the edge than the seam, I was not too afraid to put new holes into the backpack. The holes should only be on the inside. At this point I was ready to be done with that project, to be honest, but I took my time with the bias binding to not make any more mistakes. But of course some places look better than others, but hey, it's in the inside. At least now it is completely finished. I hope you enjoyed watching me scaling up the backpack, and let's get to the finished one. This is the finished backpack, and I hope I will not make a lot of rustling noises with that material, since I noticed how much the microphone picks it up once I touch it or I move it. So apologies in advance if there will be just a little bit or too much noise of the backpack. But this is the finished backpack in all its glory. Maybe you will notice I did one thing wrong. The original version of the backpack has this triangular piece on the other side. I cut it out the wrong way, but I don't really mind it, and yeah, no one will notice it anyway, just me. I know it, and that's fine. Before I will go into all the details on how it came together and what the materials are, let's discuss briefly the dimensions that I needed for the backpack. Since, of course, when you are traveling by plane, every airline has its own specifications for how big your cabin luggage can be. Yes. I don't need to throw that away. So I checked with my airline, and the height of a backpack can go up to 55 centimeters. The width could be 40 centimeters, and the depth of a backpack can go up to 23 centimeters. I didn't want to be on the limits when it comes to the dimensions, since you never know when your backpack is fully packed, something is bulgy, you never know if then the exact same dimensions are basically met. So I thought scaling everything just a little bit down will work out just fine and give me this room of error basically. So the original backpack has a height of 45 centimeters, and I scaled it up to 53 centimeters. And the width in the original one is 31 centimeters, and I only scaled it up to 36 centimeters. Same goes with the width of the backpack. Initially I wanted it to be 22 centimeters. Somehow I ended up with 19 only. I don't know where I did the mistake, how I made it. In the end, it really does not matter. If I would have the 22 centimeters, I would have been able to put my running shoes comfortably on the bottom, which is now not the case, but I mean, it doesn't really care. I don't really care if I can put them on the bottom parallel to each other. Then I will use a shoe pouch or whatever. But basically, I'm quite happy with the dimensions, how it came out, since, yeah, I don't know, I don't want to have a look of a huge backpack. I mean, once I'm wearing it, I'm also not like the tallest person, or on me I'm super petite. It really looks big, but I hope that no one will bother me with the backpack to remeasure it or weigh it or whatever airlines do these days. Overall, I'm definitely super happy with the project, how it came together, and how easy in the end it was to make. I mean, if any one of you has good tips on how to sew these round edges, these corners, when there's a zipper inside this material, and also if you have a super slippery material where even gluing it together with that double-sided tape is not really helpful, please let me know, because these areas I struggled the most with while sewing it. It is on the inside, yeah, there are neater parts. Let's put it that way. I mean, no one will really look in the inside anyways, but I know that this is definitely the area where I can improve my sewing in. And I mean, I hope I will not have another project in the near future where I have to sew these round corners. but I definitely want to get better. So if any one of you has tips on that, please let me know. Let them the links down in the comments or any other tips you have. That would be great. But yeah, everything came together quite easily in the end. Maybe first we will talk a little bit about the material that I used. This coral material and the black material from the front side panels and also this little bit in the back is an X-Pack material. I think it is 205 grams per square meter. So it is not super heavy. It's a medium weight, I would say. And it is easiest to sew, and I think it is the ideal thickness for a backpack that will hopefully last for a very long time. And yeah, as I mentioned in the video, once you have a hole inside that material, the hole stays. So you have to be very careful. But other than that, that material is definitely nice for backpacks, bags, and anything else. I'm definitely interested in sewing with that material, but in a lightweighter, fabric for any other outdoorsy projects. But yeah, for now I have this, and I still have quite a lot left, so I did not use all the material that I ordered, which is nice. You will see here for the straps, the shoulder straps, and this, let's put it this way, this padding area here and here. These are 3D meshes that are 3 millimeters wide. So it is a softer or lighter mesh in that sense, but super comfortable against either your skin when you wear these shoulder straps, or also here. It is definitely a nice cushioning and gives you a lot of comfort. In the lower part of the bag, I used the bigger version of that. It's 6 millimeters wide, and I opted to that because I'm always super sensitive in the lower back area, and I know it. Whatever you're putting inside your backpacks, there is this one sharp thing that definitely pinches your back, and I wanted to prevent this with just that thicker material. I'm not sure if I use the correct width for the Evazode that is in the straps and in the spec panel here. So I have the Evazode material that is 4 millimeters wide, and I think it is just this comfortable cushioning for the straps in the back as well. But I think I mentioned that in this back panel area I have 2 layers basically, one from the overall Evazode and one Evazode panels, or 2 Evazode panels that go in either of these little panel areas. Yes, what else have we here? For the webbing, all of the webbing is 25 millimeter standard webbing, so nothing too fancy. The only fancy thing that I allowed myself are these ladder locks in aluminum. Don't speak German here. So yeah, these aluminum ladder locks, they are super high quality, I have to say. I have them also on the smaller backpack. I definitely like the touch of them. I think they are even called to be ergonomical. Yeah, so definitely very nice material, and I am happy that I went the extra penny basically and get the better material here, because I want that backpack to last me for at least 10 years or maybe 20. All right, moving to the zippers. The zippers are also the same to my other backpack. These are AquaGuard zippers, and as mentioned in the construction video, I inserted these little tabs on the back and for the front zipper to protect the zipper from any water dripping down, because you have a tiny little hole between the two zippers, and I want to prevent to have any rain issues as much as possible. So I thought, let's give them these funny looking tabs or little ears to be just on the safe side, that in case of any heavy rain I will be protected. I hope I'm actually protected against the rain. I did not really make a waterproof test in terms of filling it up completely with water and then check for any leakage. I might do that in the future, but for now I'm quite happy how it came together, and then we will see. I mean, we are also leaving quite soon for Japan, so I don't really have the time to get it full with water, doing multiple shower runs with that project and then fix it. So we will now use it as it is. Did I mention it? But I think I did not. The side pockets for the water bottle that is over there and not here with me to show you how good it fits. I will also put in, insert some videos of me wearing it, putting some images of the water bottle, how it fits inside as well. But yeah, these pockets are definitely nice, comfy, and super deep. So my water bottle almost gets lost in it, which is great. I like that if you really don't see what is inside. It's very likely that I only use it for one water bottle, maybe a tripod if I need it. But yeah, I thought for a moment to put actually some securing elements in the side panel as well, something like these thin rubber bands that you attach with some loops. But I thought that this would add up the bulge, and also if you put it in the overhead compartments in the airplane, these elements are very likely the ones that get damaged from the luggage of other people. So I thought, nah, leave it. I don't want to have any outside pieces that can cause problems on the long run. So I opted against it. I mean, it would have been nice also for compressing it a little bit, but it will work. It will work. What else can I tell you about the backpack? What are my notes saying? Yeah, I think I mentioned that it's not skewed like the other one. If not, yeah, it is a proper backpack. It doesn't have any skewness in it, and I'm definitely very happy about that. Maybe one more thing about the bag that you will not see here right now, but in this area is the notebook compartment, and I was wearing the backpack with the notebook inside and my blanket, and I really did not notice the notebook. So on the other backpack it is very noticeable once I put my notebook inside, but here I really did not feel it at all. Maybe it's the cushioning, maybe it's also the position, maybe it's both, but yeah, so anytime I have to use that for work trips, I can definitely carry my notebook easily around, which is definitely a nice plus, and I'm happy that I did not omit this pocket just to have less fuss, basically. So yeah, this is it, I think. Yeah, that's that I should also mention with the back straps here. I said it in the video that I pulled them more apart from each other than in the original pattern. And I was wearing it now here, and I noticed it's definitely so much more comfortable. So in the original backpack, I think the straps go up to my not really higher neck, but I can notice it that it's really going up to my neck area, and this becomes definitely uncomfortable once you're wearing that backpack for a longer period of times. So I think I will not wear it longer than 5 hours for traveling, but you never know, and I would rather have a more comfortable backpack than, yeah, having something that is maybe just a little bit better looking or whatever. You never know. Yeah, so super happy with the positioning of the straps. Definitely will do that for all my future backpacks. Maybe put them just a little bit more to each other, maybe 0.5 centimeter on each side. But yeah, I definitely need a wider base for my straps. I think that's everything that I can tell you about the outside, and I would say let's go and check out the inside of the backpack. First of all, I should get out the blanket. Here you can see once more the notebook compartment, of course without the notebook right now. One thing, yeah, I mentioned that I sewed everything with bias binding. The only thing I did not shorten, and I think I did not want to do it because of compromising then the force that goes on it, is this little tabs areas from the back strap here that goes onto your shoulder strap. because they say also in the instruction for the smaller backpack that these areas should not be cut. So it is black anyways, it's not super noticeable, but yeah, I did not really then change that here, and yeah, for security reason I left it as it is. But here you can see the inside with you are looking onto the divider panel to the front area, and that is the silk coating, the silk coated ripstop. That's actually more interesting to see from the front. So in the front you have the divider panel, and on the front side I also have the regular pocket, just to put whatever inside. The more pockets the better. But that is the divider panel, and let me show you first. Maybe I can't even. Yeah, so one thing I cannot show you easily is, you see it maybe here. So this is the area that I had to leave open because of my fluff up with the dimensions. So you have the divider panel that not really goes down completely. And then I noticed today, and I'm so happy that this panel actually opens completely. I forgot, let's put it back together first. I forgot when I checked today to close up my pockets. This pocket should be closed here, and this then basically is the lower pocket. But anyways, but yeah, I hope that this divider panel really gives me that extra little space of putting stuff inside that hopefully will not slide down completely. But yeah, just to separate some things from the main compartment that you may need while traveling. I saw it in the other backpack that I used frequently for flying and traveling in general, that it is very handy to have this one compartment that, yeah, you can easier access than everything in the back. So I'm super happy with that divider panel, even though you have the zippers here. It is not super easy to get with the zipper over it, so you have to really put the zipper tabs here inside. And the other thing is that if I in any case have the back open and I need something that is on the front, can I show it to you actually easily? Now it comes to the I just forgot to open that correctly. Yeah, I think I just sewed this shut to the bias binding. Oh no, it's not even the bias binding. It is inside the seam. So yeah, definitely one thing I have to fix, but other than that, that is still very functional and I'm happy to use it for the traveling. Let's put that away for a moment and let's show you the one thing, because I did not get enough from this slippery joyful fabric here. The other thing that I made for this backpack, and also in addition to go for any other travels where I need some more packing cubes, since I already have the pack sacks, but I don't like them that much since it's not so easy to access the stuff inside and you don't really have a good organization. So the other thing that I sewed was this packing cube. It's currently filled with a crochet blanket. It's not only the regular packing cube that opens to the main compartment. But the one thing that I was determined to try out was actually a compression packing cube. So what you can see here is these mesh panels, and in the mesh panel you have basically also the zipper attached. And here you can't see it right now in that how good it compresses actually, because both of these pieces are not extremely bulky. But I tried it with my knitted cardigan, with my knitted sweater, the bulky linen stuff. So everything that I have on my packing list that is heftier, bulkier, a lot of air inside. And with that it works perfect. So you basically put everything inside in that state with the open net part. And once you're finishing packing, you basically just close the zipper and make sure that you don't catch the net. And then you have it compressed. And the trick is that your first zipper starts small and then expands to the full width of your cube, the full width of your band. And for the second round it goes over it, you basically have the zipper attached to this area as well. Yeah, so I wanted to try this out for the backpack, for traveling, how this holds up while traveling, if that is something that I found more useful than these sacks, because maybe it's easier to organize the stuff in here. One thing to mention though, now the dimensions are around 25 centimeters on each side and 16 centimeters uncompressed, 8 centimeters compressed, something on those lines. And my original plan was to make it in the same width as this backpack, so around 30 centimeters, 36. And I drew my line drawings, I had my line drawings on the paper, and on that day I definitely had not my math brain switched on, and I looked on the dimensions like, oh yeah, it's 33 centimeters, and if I add 7 centimeters for the side seam, I have 40 centimeters. That's an easy thing. Just make a 40 by 40 centimeters rectangle, right? No, of course not, because I need the 7 centimeters for both sides. Anyhow, this is what the dimensions now look like, and the good thing is that it now fits my other backpack, I think. So now I can also, this is the smaller Veiiko in comparison, I can even fit it in this area now. So perfect. Unintentionally made a too small packing cube that is usable outside of the big backpack. So yeah, definitely happy with that project. I will, as I said, check how I like it for traveling. I mean, also the fabric is super thin. It should actually hold up, but I will see how it holds up, and maybe I will later then switch to just a little bit heftier fabric for better handling on heavy duty things. I mean, not heavy duty things, but sometimes while you're traveling, you are not like super careful on your stuff sometimes, and you're handling it a little bit rougher as normally. So maybe quickly the comparison of the big Veiiko, now without the cushioning inside, and the small one. So now I have the big sister and the younger sister, or the smaller sister of my backpacks. Yeah, definitely super happy how this project came together, and I cannot wait to fill it up with all the I cannot really wait to fill it up with all my clothing that comes with me on the trip. And yeah, fingers crossed it is really waterproof once we are getting into any rainy conditions. But yeah, definitely happy that I scaled up the backpack. I have to say, this original sewing pattern, the Veiiko Backpack, is definitely worth any penny that you're spending for it. I said it earlier, the instructions, or I said it I think in the other video, the instructions are the best that I ever saw so far for complicated projects, but also in general. It really takes your hand and guides you through making a backpack. And I mean, even though I scaled it up significantly, after all, it's still the same pattern, or close to this pattern. And I used the instructions heavily. Anytime I came to a point where I thought, oh, I did something different to the original pattern, I checked the instructions and I found my way through my modifications. And yeah, super happy that I changed the backpack to a bigger version now for longer travels. And yeah, I think I have some friends already saying like, oh, I would like to have a backpack as well. So maybe you will see some more backpacks in the future. But for today, it is enough with the backpacks, at least for the traveling backpacks. I have to say, I'm one seam away from finishing also the second backpack. That came together definitely quicker, and you will see on one point the video for that as well. But for now, I shall get to packing my stuff, washing all the stuff, then packing it, and yeah, gathering all my materials before I have to leave for my holidays. I hope you enjoyed yet another endeavor into making backpacks with me, and maybe I could give you some encouragement to make a backpack, or just entertain you with my whoopsies and all my construction shenanigans. Nevertheless, if you have any questions or feedback, leave it down in the comments below, and I will see you in my next video. Happy crafting and take care. Bye bye.